Hey, Steve Mignani here doing a High Octane Classics walk around at High Octane Classics in Auburn, Massachusetts, where something that was once considered a new truck to me, I'm 58, I remember when 1996 Ford F250s like this were brand new at the dealership. Well, now this ninth generation F-Series pickup truck has become a collector's item, especially when they're as well preserved as this one. This is the original paint on this 1996 F250 XLT. Now, F250, of course, means the heavy-duty 3/4 to even 1 ton variant of the F-Series pickup. This one is a 4-wheel drive, and XLT means the special paint, a better interior, and we'll get to that stuff in a second. But again, this is the 4-wheel drive. Last year for Generation 9 on F-Series, the first with more attention paid to aerodynamic wraparound styling here, as CAFE, corporate average fuel economy qualifications, apply to trucks as well as cars, as they had since the 1979 model year. But again, the EPA numbers on this truck were better because of the fact that it slipped through the air better than the boxier ones that came before the Gen 8s. Now on this one here, we see this one again as an XLT, does have the chrome grille, chrome front bumper. These could be as austere as work trucks with gray plastic faces and less equipment. But again, the XLT is a pretty nice truck. Now this one here looks like maybe it has aftermarket wheels. These are Ford accessory wheels that were totally installed right at the factory. And again, here's the manual lock for the front wheel drive axle on this 4-wheel drive. And this one does have Ford's twin traction beam front suspension, which means there's an articulated live axle up front that has a hinge in the middle right here. We'll notice it does have leaf springs, which means it's heavy duty. It's ready to support a plow if you want to go plowing with a truck like this. We'll see that the Ford front axle has a pivot point right there, and that allows it to articulate, giving it some of the ride of an independent front suspension, but with the strength and grunt of an old style beam axle. As we make our way around the side, this one is a super cab, which means, of course, it has extra room here for a couple of jump seats. And the next generation, the Gen 10, there was actually a door that would open up, but on this case, in this generation, access to this was through the interior, through the seats. This one does have the 6-foot bed and an aftermarket cap, which has been painted to match. And again, this is a Century cap, and these caps were so popular back in the late 80s, early 90s, and even now, that companies like Century offered these things pre-painted to match your truck. You call them up, and a couple of weeks later, you get your cap pre-painted to match your truck. And again, this one here is a 4-wheel drive, 4x4. The original paint and stripes still present on this truck. It lived most of its life in Pennsylvania, which is an indicator of a gentler climate than here in Massachusetts. But something that's so original on this, it's kind of baffling, is the original dual exhaust. This is actually part of the factory system. These twin tailpipes here come out of a single muffler, but notice the heat baffles right here are still there. That's to prevent grass and other flammables from making contact to the hot pipe. It gives a bit of a baffle, so it's cooler and preventing fire. But again, those baffles right there, never seen on replacement exhaust systems. So this truck is very original, but we have to wonder, with those twin pipes, what's under the hood? Let's dig in. Yeah, there it is. This is the optional 7.5 liter V8, which to American muscle car fans is the 460 big block. First seen in 1968 aboard certain Lincoln models. And then, of course, also seen as a 429, very special engine, the big block Ford. Here it is in, I believe, the next to last model year for the big gasoline 460. And again, unlike the old school 429s and 460s, which had a carburetor, this one is fuel injected. Here are the 2 air tubes here running into the twin throttle body right up there, and then down into the ram-tuned aluminum intake manifold. Of course, at this point in time, no direct ignition, still had a distributor, electronic of course, and these are the original spark plug wires right here. Look at that, 1996, the year, number 7 cylinder. So again, a very, very original presentation under the hood. Here's number 8 cylinder, and again, they're marked for your convenience when you're giving it a tune-up. Of course, when it has air conditioning, Power brakes, of course, discs up front, big drums in the back, standard equipment on F250. And this 460 was joined by the 7.3 liter Power Stroke diesel this year, and also the 358 small block or medium block was also an option. And believe it or not, fleet owners like the government, etc., could buy these with a 300-inch six-cylinder engine for those situations. Didn't require a lot of power, but a lot of fuel economy. And again, very, very well preserved under the hood. The original emission stickers here, everything's there. The original green paint under the hood, not a respray. And most importantly right here, even part number little barcodes here, inventory control stickers like this thing right here from the assembly process still in place under the hood of this 1986 F250, or 96 F250. But again, just an original vehicle under the hood in so many ways, right down to the original service light. Pop the hood and open the hood at night and see what you're doing. Even the gold iridite on the hood latch here, as it would have appeared when this thing rolled off the Ford assembly line back when it was a new vehicle. Okay, that's the under the hood. What about inside? Well, a lot of cool stuff there too. As an XLT, this one has an upgraded interior with velour and a carpet versus the vinyl and rubber floor mat seen on a basic stripper fleet model of an F-Series pickup truck. And something really neat about this one really is it's almost as plush as an automobile or any like Lincoln or other Ford passenger car. Right down to the overdrive button here. It even has full gauges, tachometer, or speedometer, up to 80 miles per hour. Of course, the 1989 model year was the last one where there was a mandate for 85 mile an hour speedometers, but Ford pickups continued with that because, again, 120 miles an hour in a truck this big, probably not something that's going to happen too often on a public road. But with that said, just nicely preserved inside. And you got to love how Ford made the two bucket seats separate, or a third passenger could sit right here. Or if you're on the job site and you have some work to do, well, you fold down the front seat here and you can put your cold beverages into the two cup holders, mandatory stuff, or lift this guy right here and put anything you might need. Little coin holders right here for your quarters, your dimes, your nickels. All these are sized. No pennies, because nobody uses pennies, right? Or you can put your laptop right here, and access to the back would be through the front seats. You basically lift them up, run right on in there. And there is the back seat of the Super Cab. This one also has the optional sliding rear window. And again, shoulder harnesses, front, rear, all the way around. And something seen for one of the first times on Ford F-Series, the airbag right here for the driver's side only. Of course, modern F-Series pickup trucks have airbags pretty much anywhere you can look to protect you from injury. But here we have the beginnings of the airbag era in the steering hub right here. And again, this one being a four-wheel drive does have the shifter here for 2 high, 4 high, and 4 low for pretty much any kind of driving you might encounter. This truck will get you there. At the back, we see the XLT specific tailgate trim panel, which is a beautiful piece of brushed stainless steel right here. Of course, you remove this, what you'll find is an inset structure with the word Ford stamped into it. But again, the XLT had a little extra eyeball appeal, courtesy of this here. This one was set up for heavy-duty trailer towing. There's the big hitch right there. And again, with the 460 and the overdrive automatic, this is ready to do some serious pulling. I believe GVW, gross vehicle weight, was 8,400 pounds, including the truck. So this could tow a car trailer without too much trouble at all. Inside the cap, take a peek here. And I always look at the condition of the bed floor. And you know, this has seen some work, but not too much. You know, the original green paint is still pretty much present and accounted for. Yeah, some scuffing, but this probably led a pretty gentle life. And you know, well preserved inside. And again, the cap does bolt on. It's not something you're going to take off in 5 minutes, but with that said, you could take it off if you wanted to. But with the cap on there, you kind of have the convenience of a really big station wagon. No matter what you put in here, it's going to stay dry. Built Ford tough. On this side, yeah, this one has something that's kind of interesting. Now, if you're a Ford enthusiast, you can brag superiority over Chevrolet trucks, because when you got the dual gas tank option on Fords, they're both on the same side of the body. So you pull up to the gas pump, fill them up, and you're on your way for a good 400 miles of cruising. Meanwhile, Chevrolet and GMC, when you got the dual tanks, one filler was here, the other one was on the other side of the truck. What does that mean? Well, in practice, when you pull up to the gas pump, you fill up the driver's side tank, and then you get out, you drive around, turn the truck around to fill up the passenger side tank. Well, while you're gone, somebody's going to think you're done, pull into your spot, and you got a fight on your hands. Not really. But with the Fords, of course, they were always on the driver's side, which was very convenient, and something Chevrolet just wasn't doing at this point in time. So again, this is a 9th generation F-Series pickup from 1948 till the present time. 14 generations of these things and counting. And now we have the electric, Lightnings, and all that stuff. But this is 1996, the final year for the 9th generation Ford F-Series pickup truck. Get them while they're hot.